Netflix's Blue Therapy, Debbie and Kelvin, episode 2.
He can let me down,
No.
but he won't let no one else down when it comes to business.
Kelvin thinks his relationship is great. Debbie is already thinking about a life without him, and neither of them is wrong. In this video, I'll use some drawings to show you exactly what is happening between them, why her words aren't getting through, and I'll introduce a framework called right sizing that explains what has to happen next. I'm Lara, the illustrating therapist. Let's jump in. Kelvin and Debbie have been together for 10 years, and if you ask Kelvin how things are going,
I'm pretty content in a relationship. I feel like we're growing together and we're going in the same direction, you know?
and he genuinely believes this, but Debbie is thinking something different. Kelvin's world makes sense to him. He grew up watching his mother run a restaurant, a boss woman on her own, holding everything together. Then COVID took it from her, and when the building became available again, Kelvin bought it back. It's a combination of ambition and devotion.
We're back, baby! It's like a childhood dream that's turned into reality.
But here's what else Kelvin says about growing up.
My mum done an amazing job, but the part that I missed out on, she was out working so much. And it played, as much as it was good, I missed out on that sort of motherly love.
He missed her presence, not her providing, but her presence. And the therapist sees some similarities in his current situation.
You're not around for her. There's presents, there's gifts, there's the things, but you're not present.
Kelvin learned early that love looks like doing, providing, building something worth coming home to. Even though he longed for it, no one taught him that love also looks like showing up. So his world got very big and very ambitious. And Debbie, for a long time, quietly fit inside of it. So what happens to a person who spends years making themselves smaller to fit into someone else's world? And does the person they're doing it for even notice? Debbie has been carrying this for a while, and she's been trying to say it in the only ways that she can. When Debbie met Kelvin, she had a list, and he checked all of the boxes. She saw exactly who he was: patient, devoted, funny, building something real. She also really believed in where he was going, and for a long time, making more space for him felt like she was helping to create something worth waiting for. But there's a limit to how long she can wait.
He can let me down,
No.
but he won't let no one else down when it comes to business.
She's not asking for everything. She's asking to matter as much as one of his clients, as much as a pop star's dinner reservation.
He thinks that he can cover it up with like a gift to say sorry, because he thinks that will cover up what he's done.
But Debbie has found her own way to answer.
I don't know if you've realized that I don't really wear what you buy me.
The therapist calls it a silent protest, not wearing the things he buys her. But it's also something more. This is the behavior of someone who isn't being heard. This is what happens when one person's world takes up most of the available space. The other person doesn't disappear, they just get smaller. Their priorities become less important. Their voice gets quieter. And eventually, like Debbie, they stop using any words at all. I think of it like this. Every relationship has a container, like a fixed amount of space for two people's wants, their needs, priorities, and dreams. When things are working, neither circle is identical in size. Life doesn't ever really allow for that. But there's balance over time. Both people can take up space. And what I see with Kelvin and Debbie is that one circle has expanded, his work, his dreams, his timeline, his priorities, and one has quietly shrunk to accommodate. Debbie hasn't gone anywhere yet. She's just been getting smaller inside a space that is filling up with Kelvin's priorities. And she's been telling him for years.
How do you know how I'm feeling?
We talk.
What do we talk about?
As of recently, mostly about me.
Kelvin says this almost casually, like he's noticing the weather. And then
She's never said anything up until this is the most I've heard about this situation.
he's not defensive. He's genuinely surprised. And that surprise, after years of Debbie saying the same things, is the whole problem in a single moment. It's not that her words weren't spoken. It's that the smaller she got, the less they mattered. I've illustrated all of this in a free guide you can download. The link is in the description below. If you recognize yourself in Debbie, if you've said the same thing 17 times and watched it dissolve into nothing, this is why. Not because you said it wrong, not because you weren't clear enough, but because from where your partner's standing, what matters to you doesn't carry the same weight as what matters to them. And if you recognize yourself in Kelvin, if someone in your life has tried to tell you something and eventually you've been surprised at how serious it is, That surprise is also worth sitting with. Because by the time a partner stops trying to explain and starts going quiet, the clock is ticking.
I don't know if Kelvin didn't want this anymore. I don't know if he would feel brave enough to say that.
Debbie isn't shouting, but she's already somewhere else, thinking seriously about a life without him. And Kelvin, without realizing it, has been doing something else that makes it harder for her to stay.
What sort of control?
Like, he always knows where I am.
What do you mean? How?
I know, I find my iPhone.
Location. Calling me.
Kelvin tracks Debbie's location. And when she's out past midnight, he sends a car to bring her home. He doesn't think of this as control. He thinks of this as care.
Yeah, I send her because a woman wants a leader, you know, and I allow my woman to, you know, be a woman, rest in her feminine energy, as they say. Some people could say it's controlling, you know, but would you rather I didn't care?
So this gives some insight into his worldview. He's a man who sees himself as the leader of a relationship, who allows his woman to rest. But here's the thing. Unless his partner explicitly agrees to this, it's not a true partnership. It's a hierarchy. Debbie isn't an equal in this framework. She is someone to be provided for, cared for, tracked, and managed. Someone whose comfort is his responsibility and also whose freedom is his to allow. Being bigger doesn't just mean taking up space with your priorities. It can also mean positioning yourself as the one who decides how much space your partner gets. Kelvin's size isn't just about how he spends his time, it's about how he understands his role and hers. But something shifts after that first session. Kelvin admits out loud that he doesn't have work-life balance. He doesn't have room for anything outside the restaurant right now. And Debbie says something quietly.
So maybe you don't need a girlfriend then.
She's not attacking him. She's just doing the math. Because it's absolutely okay to follow your dreams, to build something that consumes you for a while. But in the context of a relationship, if you can't allow your partner's reality to matter as much as your own, if you can't let their priorities influence yours, then Debbie's question is important. Is it the right time for a relationship at all? It's not a criticism of Kelvin. It's simply the math. So how do you fix a relationship with an enormous size imbalance? You right size it. You start making changes that balance out the size of each of the partners in the relationship. Okay, so what does this really look like for Kelvin and Debbie? Kelvin doesn't have to abandon his restaurant. Debbie isn't asking him to choose between his dreams and their relationship. Those are the wrong solutions, but they are the only solutions that Kelvin is hearing, which is why he keeps getting defensive.
So are you telling me to quit the business or you? Because that's that you couldn't even.
But that's not what Debbie is asking. And it's not what right sizing requires. Right sizing is the ongoing practice of making sure both people's priorities have real weight in the relationship. It doesn't have to be the same weight. Life doesn't always allow for that, but it does have to be real weight, the kind where your partner's concerns can actually land, where what matters to them has a real chance of influencing what you decide as a couple. For Kelvin, right sizing means acknowledging that Debbie's priorities are as legitimate as his, not temporary inconveniences to be managed with a gift, not complaints to be filed away until the restaurant is profitable. Real priorities from a real person who has been slowly getting smaller inside a relationship that was supposed to hold them both. For Debbie, right sizing has already started. She's been getting bigger. She's voicing her concerns more directly. She's refusing to wear the jewelry. She's sitting in that therapy room and saying out loud what she's been carrying. And she's gotten the help of a third party to ensure that he actually hears her this time. That is not easy when you have spent years shrinking. Deciding to get bigger after a long time of being small can feel dangerous. In my experience as a couples counselor, here's what doesn't work: waiting around for your partner to change. It would be awesome if Kelvin spontaneously began giving Debbie's concerns the weight that they deserve. But in the absence of that, she's got to get to the point where she can no longer accept her size in the relationship and start taking up more space, like she's doing, calmly and clearly without apology. And that shift will ultimately force the other person to reckon with something that they've been ignoring. Debbie has made that decision. The question now is whether Kelvin can feel the pressure of that shift and respond to it, and not with armor.
So I'm definitely going to walk into the next session with a bit more armor.
but with openness. So, what could this look like if Kelvin took one step towards right sizing? So let's go back to the moment right after the session ends. In this moment, Kelvin admits that he has no balance, and then he immediately pivots to defending himself. But what if he didn't? What if he stayed in that moment just a little longer? I don't have balance, I know that. What would a good balance actually look like for you? That's it. 5 words at the end. What would it look like? It hands some space back to Debbie with no promise to fix everything and no defensiveness, just like a genuine question that actually treats her priorities as worth understanding. I'm not asking you to stop working. I just want to know that I'm a priority for you. I want more of your time. And now they're having a different conversation. He made enough room for Debbie's reality to actually land on him. Now, that's not a fixed relationship yet. It's just one conversation. But in a relationship with a size imbalance, one conversation is how right sizing begins. Debbie didn't wait for Kelvin to notice. She got bigger. And that shift, one person deciding their priorities deserve to take up more space, is the only thing that ever actually starts the right sizing process. So now that you can see what a size imbalance looks like, you might be wondering what happens when you start taking up more space and your partner pushes back, because they will. In the next video, I will show you exactly why you keep giving in and a 3-step process to hold your ground without escalating. You can watch that here, and I'll see you next time.